Leadership, a simple concept that moves the world, writes history, and drives the lives of millions of people around the world. This is a story that celebrates our leadership and makes us proud of who we are. Today, Latino Leaders Magazine crosses the path of the same leaders we've been interviewing for more than 18 years. Making all of us that work at Latino Leaders Magazine proud of our past and excited about our future. Latino Leaders Magazine is confident that we will continue to inspire the leaders that will write the future pages of our history. We have witnessed the enormous potential and value of Latino leaders. Now, Latino Leaders Magazine wants to continue to serve them by connecting these leaders and thus inspiring the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and publisher of Latino Leaders Magazine, Mr. Jorge Ferraiz.
Hello, I'm Jorge Ferraiz, publisher of Latino Leaders Magazine, and it is my privilege to welcome you to Miami Maestros 2024. This is the third year that Latino Leaders hosts a Maestro ceremony in Miami, a tremendous city when it comes to stories of leadership and inspiration for everybody. Tonight, we have 4 fantastic stories that we want to celebrate, and I want to thank also our sponsors, Southwest Airlines, Wells Fargo, and BMO for their support and collaboration. Thank you and welcome.
At Southwest Airlines, we are committed to doing the right thing by our people, through our performance, and in service to our planet. Our heart doesn't just give back, it gives forward. Doing our work the Southwest way. Because whether in the air or on the ground, we believe community is more than a place. It's at the heart of what brings us together.
Through our long-standing partnership with Latino Leaders Magazine, we've been able to see firsthand how the power of celebrating Latino leaders can inspire the next generation. I'm Laura Nieto, Managing Director of Corporate Responsibility. At Southwest Airlines, we believe leadership is about people. Great leadership is about inspiring, serving, and caring about people. Tonight, I'm honored to recognize Ms. Nelly Borrero, Managing Director and Senior Global Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Strategic Advisor at Accenture, whose achievements are grounded in the principles of authentic leadership. With decades of leadership experience in diversity and inclusion, Ms. Borrero's success can be attributed to a robust work ethic and unwavering integrity. Under her pioneering leadership, Accenture experienced a profound transformation in its approach to inclusion and diversity, becoming the #1 ranked employer for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States. So, it won't surprise you that she has been named one of America's 50 Most Powerful Latinas by Fortune magazine, and one of the top executives in corporate diversity by Black Enterprise magazine. Ms. Borrero, we salute you for being a steadfast champion of how the power of authentic leadership can promote change and inspire others. On behalf of the more than 70,000 Southwest Airlines employees, we're honored to present the Maestro Award for Leadership to Ms. Nelly Borrero. Congratulations.
The Maestro Award in Miami 2024 in the category of leadership is presented to Nelly Borrero, Senior Strategic Advisor for Global Diversity and Inclusion for Accenture. Congratulations. Let's see her story.
My family is from Puerto Rico. My parents were born and raised on the island as well. They migrated to the mainland early in their 20s. And they've been here ever since. My education has been through the public school system, starting from elementary school through high school, going back and forth from Puerto Rico to New York. While I was a young girl, I had limited aspirations and dreams because I didn't see others really evolving and having careers in corporate America. All I saw was being shown to me in my neighborhood and through media, through television. But I always knew that I was meant to accomplish more. And it was that inner fight in me, that inner desire that kept me curious to identify ways that I can evolve from where I was. There have been so many experiences throughout my journey. The one that continues to play really big within the way I show up in the world is always knowing that no matter what experience you have, whether it's joyful or whether it's challenging, you have to maintain that sentiment of courage. So courage for me is critically important as I've navigated my personal and professional career. One of the values that I always tap into is the value of being ethical. Sometimes it's really hard to make decisions, and the way I make them is by asking myself, am I sticking to my ethics? What's important to me here at this moment? Because I know that showing up in the world with good intentions will lead to good results. Showing up with bad intentions will never work for you. So for me, it's about being ethical. And when I make a mistake, I learn from the lesson and I move on. I believe what defines me that's not completely related to work or my career is my inner sense of independence, along with my commitment to being a good family member, a good daughter, a good wife, a good mom, a good everything around my family. I'm very committed to that, but my love of independence penetrates through all of that. Some of my hobbies and interests are playing tennis. I'm not good at it, but I love it. And also reading. I continuously read because that's my escape. That's how I disengage. That's how I disconnect from things. So reading every night is part of my daily ritual. The best advice I would give someone junior in their career journey is to pause and identify what is your brand? What do you want that to be? And once you identify what you want your brand to be, nurture it and execute upon it all of the time. Moving along your career without a brand is like going through in the ocean and the sea without any navigational compass. So having your brand to navigate your career is critically important.
The Maestro Award in Miami 2024 in the category of entrepreneurship is presented to Monica Mantilla, founder and managing director of Altura Capital. Let's see her story.
So I grew up in Colombia. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I had a brother and a sister, a phenomenal mother that really was always very encouraging about, you can do everything, study, study, study. My family all had a philosophy of education was very important, and giving back was also very important. There were things that I grew up that I saw my mother doing, even when she didn't have a lot of resources, but she would figure out a way to share with others, and always admired that. And I think that stayed in my DNA. That commitment to excellence, do things well, do it hard, do it honestly, help others, achieve new things, right? And so I remember, for example, reading was a very important part of, I loved literature, I loved history. My mother is a historian and a PhD in history and philosophy, so I learned so many things from her. And I just remember wonderful things, frankly, of my upbringing. I just feel incredibly blessed that I had then grandparents and uncles and cousins that were always around us. There were many conversations around the table that I remember being sometimes young and say, oh, it's kind of boring. They're talking about politics or history. But now I'm so grateful that I was part of them, right? Because you learn dialectics in your family. You learn, even if there are differences of opinion, right? And different views, but there's a way to listen to each other and there's a way to come up with common ideas. And so I just have good memories of gratefulness for the way I grew up with the challenges and the opportunities and the blessings that you have, right? It's like life has always a combination of those things, and that's what makes life beautiful. So I think that everything we do in life, right, one stage leads to the other. When I think about my career, starting in business, starting in law, really, then going into business, then being an investment banker, and then being an investment management consultant. All of those are stepping stones to be in the world of private equity. If you think about the world of private equity, what we do is we gather assets, right? We are entrusted by institutional investors to manage their assets. So it means giving them returns, right? Growing those assets. And the way we do it is by selecting companies that we can invest in and we can support in doubling or tripling their EBITDA. And so we give them two big things. We give them patient capital, which could be debt or equity, and very frequently a combination of those. And then we give them what we describe as the Altura way. We give them support on strategy, support on revenue growth, EBITDA growth, on achieving operational discipline, financial discipline, thinking about their human capital, their risk management, their technology, right? All these things that make a good company, and we're helping them to navigate through those. Sometimes they're very good at some parts, they have weaknesses in others. And so we try to be that value add partner to ensure that that company can go in a growth trajectory. So we started Altura as advising pension funds and large institutions on how to invest with diverse managers. In doing that exercise, and we had a financial crisis where we actually thought, is this the right model or should we pivot? And at that time, we knew and understood that small and middle market businesses were an incredible promise of value creation. And we didn't see a lot of private equity funds, especially minority-owned, women-owned, that were helping these businesses to be able to get to the next level. So that's when we said, you know what? There's an incredible market opportunity that we can be the solution provider for our investors, giving them the returns of investing in that, but very importantly for these entrepreneurs that need these resources and nobody's giving them to them. So that was an incredible moment where we said, you know what? Our future is not only being an advisor, but very importantly, being an investor in small and middle market businesses. You know, sometimes I think about our biggest legacy being our kids. What will your kids, the principles, the values, the example that you gave your kids so they can also live a good life is probably one of the biggest legacies that any human being can leave, and that I feel that I can leave. Beyond that, I think that we all have a responsibility to be part of the societies that we're part of and leave something. I'm working now on a project that we're trying to build a big legacy for women in Miami, especially for girls in Miami. And so something that will leave something good after you leave, and hopefully something big, right? I think about capital and how capital is an incredible enabler, but you have to combine capital with good ideas and good projects, with good people and good leaders to bring them. I enjoy doing big things, and I think that the legacy is one where maybe you will be remembered by the kids that you raised and the societies that you helped build.
Good night, and thank you for the kind invitation to the Latino Leaders event. It's an honor to be here celebrating the remarkable contributions of today's awardees, recognized with the Maestros Award. I'd like to extend a special thank you to Jorge Ferraiz for his ongoing support and dedication to highlighting our community's achievements. As part of Softec, an IT company founded by Latinos, I am incredibly proud of the difference our community has made creating and pursuing our dreams with a passion that identified us. At Softec, We harness our cultural heritage to deliver innovative solutions that help companies across all industries thrive in today's fast-paced digital world. Our unique perspectives empower us to see opportunities where others see challenges, turning technology into a powerful tool for growth and transformation. Congratulations to all the honorees. Your achievements make us all proud and inspire us to continue striving for excellence. Thank you and enjoy your night.
The Miami Maestro Award 2024 in the category of Community Service is presented to Marilyn Santiago. She is the partner and Chief Marketing Officer of Creative Architectural Resin Products. Let's see her story.
I was born and raised in Ponce, Puerto Rico. I lived in a large household with my mother, single mother, and my grandmother. My mother had my two older brothers. They were at home. But then since I lived with my grandma as well, we had a lot of cousins staying with us. So it was funny because it was a large house and one of the bedrooms was super huge and it had like 10 small beds and all my primos were staying there and they called that the hospital. Surrounded by a lot of love. Very traditional family. I was a little spoiled, but at the same time, they were very strict with me. When I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, in my house, my grandmother had a transistor radio in the kitchen. They were all day long in the kitchen cooking or making café con galletitas or whatever. And I remember sitting at the table and watching the radio while they were playing or they were playing some music or doing some trivia. By that time, they were doing a lot of trivia. And I remember when the on-air personality made a mistake, sometimes when back in the day, the stations had turntables and that they had to cue the song so that they could play one, the other. And sometimes they made a mistake and they would play the same song. And I picked up the phone and I called the radio station, una pioja. Señor, you played the song twice. You made a mistake, you know? And they were like, shut up and go to play or something. So little did I know I was becoming a program director of a radio station. My first official job was working as a DJ at a radio station in Ponce. They hired me to do the vacations for one of the on-air personalities, and I was good. I have a very nice personality. I can be super cool when I want to. So I really engaged with being a DJ and stuff. But then one day on Valentine's Day, it's a rock station. It was a rock station, so we were playing like the 80s rock and stuff like that. So they gave me the playlist of the music that I was supposed to play on Valentine's Day. Remember, this was Valentine's Day. And the music that they gave me was so horrible. It was crappy. And I was like, I cannot do this. It's Valentine's Day. It's el Día del Amor. We need to change the music. Cuando vi que me pusieron la canción de Tarzan Boy para que la tocara, yo dije, I cannot do this. Remember that song? Well, horrible song, horrible. That's not a Valentine's Day song. So I played the songs that I wanted. I didn't care. Well, they fired me because I was playing the songs that I was not supposed to be playing. But when I went out that night, everybody was like, girl, you were great. The music was spot on. What a great show. I love you. And I was like, yes. A little ahead, I graduated from college and I started working as an operations manager for 4 radio stations. And that's where the fun starts. So it was more of an experience that I didn't even know when I was a child that I was going to be a radio person, a program director, a vice president of programming, and the path that my life would have taken, my career would have taken working on the radio industry. I believe that my leadership skills are pretty awesome. I collaborate. I embrace collaboration with my peers. I'm not a bossy person. Well, don't say that at home. But I try to get everybody involved in whatever project we're doing. I want them to know the importance of what we're doing, and I allow them to develop their creativity, to express their creativity, and I gave them credit for that. So I believe that for me, it's more of a collaboration and working together with people, understanding people and letting them be. Although I was loved in my family, they show me so much love and attentions. My family shielded me from life. And when I had to go out and face life, I was not too prepared for it. And I was bullied and I was hurt. Eventually later on, I became a survivor of domestic violence. A victim, at that time I was a victim. Now I'm a survivor. But I went through so much and I was not prepared to deal with it. I went into depression. And I realized that all the hurting and all the suffering that I was experiencing made me become more empathetic, more understanding, and more loving. I understood that there was a lot of people that they were hurting, and I decided that I wanted to help people that could not help themselves. So suffering made me awesome. I'm a walking Hallmark card. I want people to feel good. I love when I make people feel good. And that happens to me so often. I meet people and they start talking and somehow I see a potential that they may not see. And I love that quality about myself. I see the good in others. And I help them. And so many times people have come to me like, oh my God, Marilyn, you changed my life. You gave me some advice. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember, but thank you. So that's a beautiful thing. That's a virtue that I think that has helped me a lot. Helping other people is a blessing.
The Miami Maestro 2024 in the category of Professional Achievement is presented to Henry Fletches, founder and CEO of UDT. Congratulations. Let's see his story.
My parents were both raised, they're both Cuban. My father came to this country in his early teenage years. My mom was not even a teenager yet, right? So I think my dad was 16, my mother was 10 or 11. They both came through Spain. Obviously, they hadn't met and married yet, but ironically, they both came through Spain. And then my father came directly to the United States. My mother's side of the family was different. They actually went to Barranquilla, Colombia. My grandfather spent 30 years working there. So the family dynamic was one where, my parents met and married here in the United States. Look, my heroes were my parents. And the reason for that is because my father was always around. We never didn't have anything. He spent time with me. So did my mother, right? Would play baseball with me outside. I never became a good baseball player, but he would throw the ball with me, right? And what I knew that I wanted to do because of this image that I had of my father and my parents combined was that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I wanted to do as an entrepreneur, right? We all at some point want to be a firefighter or a police officer or, even consider joining the military, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do what my dad did, which is that he worked for himself, right? And I knew that by working for yourself, you could guarantee yourself that you could provide for your family. That's kind of what was ingrained. Whether it was completely accurate or not, right? That's just kind of the way that I was raised and the perceptions that I gained growing up. It was about building things. Because when my daughters ask me today, Dad, what do you do? What do you really enjoy doing, right? They know I'm in IT. They know that we do cyber and cloud, and we build data centers and do all those things. But when they ask me, what do you really enjoy doing? When I've reflected and I've responded, I've said, I really enjoy building things. Whether that's, a family, a business, people at an individual level, right? Relationships with customers. I really enjoy building things. My business partner, which I met in high school, by the way, I met him in high school playing football, and we retained our friendship through college, and then we started this business back in 1995 together. He's a hunter. And one of the things that we kind of reference and talk about is that, there's a story of the lion and the deer, right? The lion wakes up running because he's hungry and he wants to eat the deer. The deer wakes up running because scared that he's going to be eaten by the lion. The moral of the story is that whether you're the lion or the deer, you have to wake up running. Effectively what that means is that we all have to wake up and we all have to work hard every day, right? And some days we're the lion and some days we're the deer, right? And we have to just learn how to navigate that day, basically taking on the characteristics of, were you successful that day, or did you have failures? Did you overcome those failures? Were you able to navigate challenges throughout the course of your career and specifically that day? We never worried about how much money we were making, or we always just, did we wake up? Did we work hard? Did we try to do the right thing, right? So, what's in the future for UDT? Look, I measured in terms of the level of success of the people around me. I asked them to measure it on the level of success of the people around them. And when I mean success, how well are they doing for themselves and their family, right? Can they provide for their families? Are they giving their children the education that they want to provide for their kids? Are they putting a good retirement plan so that they don't have to rely on hope or charities in the future to help them, right? Can they sustain themselves on their own? As long as we continue to do that, and as long as I can be in a position to do that, we're going to continue to do that. I never want my kids to say, Dad was always working and never there. So I plan a lot of my work activities around my home activities, right? For my wife has sacrificed a lot for her to be able to run the household, right? Because that is a full-time job, taking care of the kids, making sure they go to school, making sure they're getting educated, making sure that when they're sick that they're taken care of, managing the house and all the things that come with it. And then also finding what fulfills her outside of those responsibilities that she chose to take on, right? And that was a sacrifice for her. So is my wife fulfilled in her purpose in life, right? If I'm helping my family and supporting them do that, then that's a metric of success for me at home. And I don't always succeed at that, right? Like if you talk to my wife, she'll tell you that sometimes it's not all so good, right? But it's something that I work at every day. No, I'm not perfect. I always try to do the right thing, whether that's for customers, for my family, for our staff members, right? That I always did the right thing. We're only going to be remembered for so long, but for the people that do remember us, what impact did we make on them, right? When I'm no longer here, will my daughters talk about us going fishing together and the fact that we spent a lot of time in the Keys together? And, will my wife feel that she was taken care of and protected and felt safe, right, in our relationship, at home, at work, etc.? Those are the things, right? Those are the things that I and by the way, you have to strive for that every day, because you could have some of that, right, and continue to build and build and build, and one day it falls apart, because we're human, we make mistakes, we have unforeseen challenges that happen, like hurricanes and equipment catching on fire and a whole host of things, right? And life happens, but you just gotta, be willing to get up and try to be a little bit better the next day than you were the day before. And if the day before you actually went backwards rather than forwards, and just try to be a little bit better than you were the day before.
And this has been the Maestro Awards in Miami 2024. A tremendous city for leaders and a great inspiration for Latino leaders. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Southwest Airlines, Wells Fargo, BMO, and Softec. Also, congratulations to all the winners. See you next time.